Moikka!
Hey!
Welcome to our podcast, Mastering Finland.
I'm Jean and I'm from California.
I'm Petra and I'm from the Czech Republic.
We're here to chat about our life in Finland.
Hello everybody, welcome back to our podcast. And today I have two great guests. Their names are Katarina and Raysa. And they are the creators of Diversity for Future campaign in Finland. Hello, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
Hello. Yeah, I'm fine too, and thank you for having us.
Yeah, good. Really nice to have you. Let's start with Raysa. Could you introduce yourself? Could you tell us where are you from? How long have you lived in Finland? And something else, if you have anything else to share with our listeners?
Yes, of course. I'm originally from Brazil, from a town called Belo Horizonte. Many people they don't know, which is okay. It's not a very known city. I arrived here in Finland in September of last year, and I came here both for studies and for love reasons, which I think it's very common here in Finland. And what else can I say about me? I love sustainability. I'm super passionate about it, and I love dogs. I really like dogs.
Oh, very nice. Thank you for the introduction. Really good. How about you, Katarina?
All right. Well, my name is Katarina. I'm from Serbia. However, I lived for the last 5 years in Budapest, in Hungary, and I still have very nice memories from this city. It's very much close to my heart. Much like Raysa, I moved to Finland last fall to start studies and to join my partner here. As she said, this is very common, so we are very much similar in this way. And also, I love animals and sustainability and, of course, diversity. So that's what brings us today here to talk to you.
Oh, really nice. Thank you. It's so nice to meet you. And you told me a lot about your project, so I'm really excited that we can share it with our listeners. So you founded the initiative called the Diversity for Future. So could you tell our listeners more about this project and how it came to life? How did it all start?
Sure. We started in this project right at the beginning of our studies here in Finland. So we volunteer for an association that it's called Erasmus Student Network. And it's a big association that they are in entire Europe, many branches of it. And here we had the goal to promote a platform that it's called erasmusintern.org. And in this platform, you can get internships everywhere in the world, and companies everywhere in the world, they can also advertise there. And we thought that Finland had a nice opportunity to attract international talent through students, but it wasn't being used in Tampere. So we were trying to promote this platform. We realized that it's very tricky, that before promoting the platform, we had to take a step back and convince organizations that internationalization is actually good and it can be beneficial for them. So that's when we started to do some event planning. So we were teaching other students how to find hidden jobs in Finland, because the Finnish market is quite... you access through networks, and many jobs, they're not advertised. But due to Corona, we had to stop with the events planning. So we joined an initiative that it's called Sustainability and Impact Club of Tampere Universities. And in this initiative, we transitioned to an online strategy. And then that's how the campaign was born. And our goal was to try to make it light. It was to try to make it fun and positive, because we also realized in our short time here in Finland that it can be a very difficult situation for foreigners. So it's quite negative sometimes. And we wanted to show how fun it can be, this kind of stories of cultural shocks. Or, for example, there is one case of a person that is working now in the municipality of Tampere, and all the systems are in Finnish, and his colleagues, they created a guide for dummies on how to navigate the city systems. So we wanted to show this side of diversity, that it's a very interesting side and often it remains hidden. And that's how the campaign was born.
That's very nice. And it's as a foreigner, I can tell that these initiatives are such an important thing for all of us foreigners, because the more we share our stories, the more we can make the other people understand and Finnish people understand what we are going through and how and what has to be done to make it, change it for us and for, good future, hopefully, in this country. Is there anything, Katarina, that you would want to add to this question?
Well, yes, I could not agree more with what you were saying. And one thing that I learned, I spent 5 years in Hungary, a foreign country for me, also the country where I did not speak the language. And I managed to, so practically I experienced myself what it means to be the first non language speaker, in this case the Hungarian language. So I got a job in Hungary and I was the first in my company that did not speak Hungarian language. So I've been through this, I've experienced what it means to have diverse people, and sometimes how challenging it is for all sides to get it to be effective. But I also could see really incredible value that people, myself and many other internationals who came later, could bring. And I also saw that once you do this hard work of adapting to one international, later on it becomes much easier. And so this was my personal experience, and this is why I was very much interested in this project Raysa told you about already, Erasmus Intern. And this is also why I was really happy to continue working on diversity for future. Perhaps I could just add for the listeners what actually we did as part of this campaign. We interviewed, I think we made around 20 or 20, over 20 people. And what we try to do is to cover diversity related issues from different aspects. I think this is very important because it makes our campaign, as Raysa was saying, approach this issue from a unique angle. We understand that adapting is sometimes challenging, sometimes very fun. But what we try to argue with this campaign is that it's worth it. It requires effort from all sides, but in the end, the value that a company gets, an organization, individuals working there, and people who join as internationals is very much, it pays off practically all this effort. So what we did, we talked to a lot of people. They were internationals working currently in Finland, and we were interested in their take on how it was to adapt to Finnish working culture. And we covered a lot what Finnish working culture is in the first place. We talked to Finns working with internationals, because it's also valuable perspective to see how does it look like when you have to adapt. And Raysa shared already an example of one strategy when it comes to the language. We talked to different people in different positions who are dealing with onboarding internationals and recruiting internationals in Finland. And so practically it's what we try is to highlight different aspects of this issue and the value that comes with it. Also some challenges, but our main argument, it pays off in the end.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That was really nice explanation and also your story. And I really hope that the companies here in Finland are going to listen to you and hear what international people have to offer, because we have a lot to offer. And also I find it really fascinating that it was not only about the international people in this situation, but you also looked on the other side of the situation and you talked to people who are hiring or who are changing the companies, which I think is also very important, because without that, international people can talk, but nothing is really going to change if there is not the other side of that as well. So yeah, really, really great job. Thank you for that.
We also interviewed Finns, and it was also very fun to notice how it is for them to work in international settings as well. So we heard complaints about punctuality, for example, and things like that. It was also very interesting for us to hear the Finnish side of the story as well.
Yeah, and that's amazing.
Maybe if I can just add one thing, what we try to do is when we talked to internationals who work now in Finland, they had a certain idea of what kind of value they bring to the team. And what we did is that we actually went and talked to their colleagues as well, because we just wanted to see their Finnish colleagues, whether they will perceive the value the internationals bring to the team in the same way. And what we discovered is that in fact they could map a few other things that people coming within, like from different countries, took for granted. But for somebody who is originally from Finland, this was quite new. And so it's very interesting how different sides could perceive the value and what kind of different values they could really see from emerging from this interaction. And so we have really great examples, mainly because there are so many great stories on this topic to be shared. And I really hope that your listeners will find our stories interesting to read.
Yeah, totally. That's amazing. I think it like sort of moves us to the next question. Are there any successful stories related to your project, like convincing a company to become more international, for example, or any other stories? What do you think, Katarina? Is there anything?
Well, I really like how you phrased the question, talking about company that should become more international, because this is definitely one of our key goals. We started with this campaign in late March, so this is our long-term goal, and we are working towards it. And the way we designed this campaign and the next steps that are upcoming hopefully will lead us towards this end. So definitely, I think one of our goals that we want to achieve is to understand better what are the real challenges the companies experience when it comes to working with internationals. We don't want to say hiring internationals, because there are so many more different ways to get engaged and to have international as part of your team that go beyond, just having to fully hire this person and get them on a payroll and everything. So what we want to understand is what kind of challenges companies experience when it comes to working with internationals, and how we can contribute. And when I say we, I mean my colleague Raysa, myself, and others who are like us, young professionals, very much passionate about this issue. So how can we contribute and hopefully address some of these challenges? So this was one, and hopefully through this work we will have more companies becoming international and hiring internationals. However, another important aspect that we like to think about when we talk about our success is our network. Both of us came to Finland relatively recently, in a way speaking, and of course you can imagine how Corona situation affected networking, because we had to stay at home and practically all events were cancelled, and that's the main way how you interact and network. So one thing that we are really proud is that we could see that a lot of people have been recognizing the effort, and that we got, for example, we were invited to join a platform for attraction, integration, and retention of international talents in Finland. I think Raysa can say more about the platform itself, but for us it was very much, it was really great deal that somebody recognized our work and that they really thought it has value, and that we were invited to join this, in our opinion, very nice club of professionals. So this was, for example, one way how we measure success, and we really hope that in future we get to expand our network, we get to engage with more people, to hear more stories, learn more, and then hopefully work towards easing this integration in a meaningful way.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Yeah, Raysa, yes. What do you want to add?
I would just like to add to this that one of our goals was also to have a voice for students here, for international students, because we see many policies and many initiatives being done now, and Finland is investing a lot in integration and in talent attraction. So we thought that there was an important group missing out of this discussion, and this group is students. And we understand that integration and we understand that attraction can be very powerful if you start with studies. So this is also very interesting for us to realize that thanks to the campaign, we are now having more opportunities to be heard. So the platform is a very nice example of that, and also your podcast. So thanks again for inviting us. So to say that we are not only saying, we are not only speaking in behalf of, but we are also protagonists of the change that we want to see in Finnish society. And I think this also is very important, and it's an important goal for us as well with the campaign.
Yeah, totally. And thank you again for having you, because I believe that our both initiatives are having very similar goals, and they want to just make foreigners' lives better in Finland. And as our podcast is starting from this being a student, international student, to going through the rest as we are going through now with my colleague. So it's really amazing that these sort of initiatives are starting to happen, and international students are not willing to just accept that that's the way it is, and there is nothing that can be done. So it's really great that we are all fighting to make a change and make a better future for all of us. Let's get to the next question then. Speaking of future, what are the future steps related to your initiative or campaign? Raysa, would you like to answer the question?
Sure. So for the next steps, we still have more stories that we are going to release. So right now we are going to, like almost every Finn person in Finland, we are going to have a holiday break for the campaign in July, and we are going to return with new content in August. So we are continuing to release. We are also planning to hold webinars. So in one side, we are holding webinars for new international students that did not arrive to Finland in Tampere University. So we are going to talk to them about this kind of important insights about the Finnish job market. That, for example, if I had known, I think it would save me many months of job applications, for example. And we are also going to host a webinar targeting HR professionals to understand, to teach them, not teach is not the correct word, but to show what are the opportunities and possibilities of hiring international students, because we noticed that there are many ways that you can have a student working for you with lower risk. So, for example, through a thesis work or through internships, and there are many possibilities through UKO as well. Through this kind of services that you can practice light entrepreneurship. So there are many possibilities to engage with international students, and we hope to show companies that this is possible, and we hope to show them that there are many opportunities for doing that.
Yeah. You mentioned that different tips that there can be to finding job. Is there anything, just quickly, a few tips for foreigners who are looking for a job, or international students who are looking for a job, what they can do? You said that you would save time if you knew that.
I think the first thing that I would say, it's to not commit the same mistakes that I did, that I was just sending applications and waiting for vacancies openings. That's what I would do in Brazil. Here, I think it doesn't work, because 80% of the job vacancies, they are hidden, so they are never advertised. So the best way of applying to jobs in Finland is you find a nice company that you are interested in, you find a nice initiative that you can contribute for, and then you email directly the manager of that initiative. And I know this can be a bit scary depending on the culture where you come from. I think in Brazil it's highly hierarchical, so I wouldn't do that normally, to message the director or to message people really high in the ladder. But here it's totally fine, and I think it's the best approach. It's better than applying to this kind of open posts, and it's a way better. And you can always also call people and ask for more information, and I realized that they appreciate that a lot here.
Yeah, that's totally true.
Maybe
Yes, Katarina?
yeah, if I can add, we have published a story. It's called "Opening Doors Through Value Proposition," and I really, if your listeners are interested in this topic, it was a very nice interview. So with one of the people we talked to. So really invite everybody to read it, and we are very much interested in the takes of others, in their experiences and the comments. But this is precisely the issue that we've been discussing with Takura. He currently works at City of Tampere, but I think it's really pretty much on this topic, and we really dive into this, like how does it look like to look for meaningful employment in Finland? Because finding a job, it's also important to like for us to differentiate, because finding a job can be anything pretty much. But if you want to find meaningful employment, that you do something that you studied about, and something that you're passionate about, and that you want to build career in, this is not easy, even if you are in your own country, let alone if you're a foreigner. So I really invite everybody to read the story with Takura and to send us their comments or their experiences. But this is the issue that we are discussing, and I think he has really good advice.
Yeah, thank you. That's a nice tip. And I'll also myself read that, because I feel that it sounds very interesting and a lot to learn from that. And yeah, I can tell myself it's really hard to, as you said, find a job, meaningful job, as you said, in even in your own country. And now in a foreign country, that's a big deal for everybody that I know who is dealing with the same. So it's really good that you are sharing stuff like that, and that we can learn from each other as well. Let's get to the next question, and that is, how can people get involved? You sort of mentioned a bit, Katarina, about that, but how they can get involved in your project and where they can read more about it.
Yes, exactly. So as I said, we are very much open. We are not doing this for ourselves. We want to contribute to the ongoing public discussion about this topic. So we are very much eager to hear everybody's take, their experiences. If anybody is interested to share their story with us, practically there are, I would say, 3 channels that people can read the stories. They are available on ESN website and on our Medium channel. I'm sure that those links are available in the podcast description. So for anybody who is interested, just click below, and you can find there all the stories we've published so far. The website and the Medium are regularly updated, so any new stories that come up, if you follow us, you will see, you will find them there. So this is the safest way not to miss anything. Also, when it comes to getting in touch with both Raysa and myself, I think LinkedIn is a really good tool to use for anybody who is interested in, as I said, sharing their story or sharing their experiences, having a question that I think we can help with, or perhaps having an idea for us. So we are very much open to hear, and also our LinkedIn contacts are available below. So we really encourage people to get in touch and tell us what I have experienced so far.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And I encourage everybody to read your posts, but also get in touch and let's build it together, as I said before. Okay, so let's get to the last question. So, Raysa, are you planning on staying in Finland after your studies are over?
Yes, that's a very difficult, interesting question. I love Finland. I think Finland is a very nice place with many nice opportunities. I also love Brazil. It's also a place with I have a deep love with. So it's a difficult question for me, trying to figure it out where my future will be. But I'm very hopeful that I can work with something that connects both countries. And I think this is part of what we also advocate for in this campaign, that doesn't matter where your networks are, you can always benefit the places that you lived, the places that you work at with your network. So I'm hopeful that I can connect both countries together.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And hopefully you'll be able to do that as well. What about you, Katarina? Are you planning on staying in Finland after you finish your studies?
Yeah, well, for me, it's a similar answer as Heisa's. Personally, I never thought that I will end up living in Hungary for 5 years, and yet it happened. I did not ever imagine living in Finland. I thought it would be nice to visit as a tourist, but yet here I am. I think life has a weird path for ourselves. So definitely, my plan is to stay at least for some years in Finland. And what I really Heisa already mentioned, but what I really would like to stress is that even for people who did not make the commitment to stay like forever in Finland, they still have value to offer, and we should not, like, even for students who want to study just for 2 years and go back to their own country, they are an incredible asset, and there is still value in engaging with these students. As a matter of fact, it's possible to argue that there is a even greater value in engaging, or perhaps let's just say there is a value in engaging with students who want to go back to their home countries, because Finland has a lot to offer to the others, and sometimes it is difficult to find really competent and reliable people in those countries because of brain drain. I know for myself, I come from Serbia, and if any Finnish company would like to do something in my hometown, I'm pretty sure they would struggle to find people with the profile they would need for this kind of projects. So meeting somebody in Finland while this person study, having them as a thesis worker for a year, and having them back to their home country to start the business, offer their connections, their knowledge of local culture to a Finnish company willing to export their business. This is such an immense asset, and it seems that people only focus on people who want to stay in Finland. But what we try to argue is that practically, internationals have value here in Finland regardless of how long they want to stay. So hopefully this is also a good point for everybody.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I know that many of my classmates that we studied masters together who went back to their countries, they are collaborating with some sort of company in Finland, or they are planning on creating collaboration. So as you said, having a network all around the world, that's basically the best you can have in these times. And it doesn't mean that it's going to pay off straight away, but I believe that the network is there and is not going to disappear. So it will be definitely valuable, if not now, then at some point in the future, for sure.
Immigration studies, they show for us that these networks, they never disappear, and they remain quite useful for a long time. So we see, for example, with the Irish diaspora that happened in the 19th century, these connections are still the ones that went to the United States. These connections are still useful, and they still bring a lot of value to Ireland. So we see that these migrating patterns, they are very nice and valuable.
Yeah, I can tell myself. I basically came to Finland 5 years ago. I started with my Erasmus. And those people that I met during the year from all around the world, we are still in touch. Maybe not every day, but we know that we exist and that where we are. So whenever there is a need for having connection in that country, I'm straight there, okay, I'm going to this person. And I know that I can count on them. And it's just an unbelievable thing to have in your life. And it really enriches your life as a person. Yeah. Is there anything else you would want to add to your initiative or share about your experiences in Finland, perhaps?
I think I would just like to add that integration and life decisions, they don't need to be too heavy. Job hunting doesn't need to be too heavy. We can deal with these situations in a lighter and fun way sometimes, and it can be very positive for us all.
Yeah, that's a nice adding. What about you, Katarina? Anything you would want to add?
No, I think Heisa's message is very good to end this conversation, and I really hope that we get closer to having this kind of discussion and this kind of talks. So
yeah, thank you very much, both of you, for coming.
thank you for having us, really.
Yeah, it's really valuable for me personally and for our podcast, and I believe that for our listeners as well to hear about such an amazing initiative. And I really hope we can collaborate as well in future, because I see really big potential in your campaign. And yeah, it was really great to have you on, and good luck with everything that comes to your way.
Thank you very much. I wish everybody a wonderful summer and a lot of warm days here in Finland. And so we are, as I said, you know how to get in touch. So we are there in case you have any ideas or any kind of experience to share with us.
We are very talkative individuals, so don't be shy to be in touch with us.
Yes, I think this is visible also from this conversation.
And thanks a lot for the invitation again. It was lovely.
Thank you for coming. Thank you. Okay. Thank you to our guests. It was really amazing conversation today, and we will hear you next Monday again. Bye.